Hello ladies and gents, non-binary people, Romie Mojo here. Please like, comment, subscribe. Now, the Braxtons, they're back. Okay, they're back and I'm just a little bit like, because of how it starts off. It starts off with, and it's so awkward. It's so awkward, so I'm not laughing. But it starts off with the Tamar and her suicide attempt and the sisters just kind of talking about it. And this has actually become more common in reality shows where things that happened recently, they'll go and throw in there for an episode that happened like months ago, because the show actually starts off technically 7 months prior. So it's just like, huh? And I did hear that Tamar was pissed when WeTV decided to go and tape reactions to the sisters finding out about Tamar attempting suicide. And that's a whole nother thing when it comes to these TV shows and reality TV. And I'm not getting into that today. What we're going to focus on is, I'm not talking about every specific thing, because why would I on this show? I'm going to talk about the things that I cared about. One of the central themes that were going around is Tracy, not Tamar at this very moment, Tracy is at odds with her family to a certain extent still. Tracy has always felt a way about how the family, because I started watching Braxton Family Values again from the beginning, since now seasons 1 and 2 are on Netflix, and it really reminded me how Tracy felt a way about her sisters moving forward career-wise, or at the bare minimum together, while she stayed in Maryland with her son and her husband. And she's always felt a way about that. And then even with her doing music and putting out albums, it's not the same, because she wasn't able to do things with her sisters. And that was just part of the issue with the dynamic with her family and her, because people had issues with her husband and how they felt about her husband, certain things that he would do, and the fact that he cheated in the past, and all these things that Tracy's just like, hey, I'm still married. This is the person for me. I meant it. And she even kind of brought up, like, the rest of y'all are on your second, third marriages. Relationships are where they are. And I'm still where I am. And I am happy regardless of what you think of the marriage. I said, perfect, great, beautiful. Tracy is in an overall good place. Overall, it's still awkward. She's still kind of faking the funk with some of her sisters, which this is a central problem with the Braxtons and their family dynamic. But at least when it comes to the sisters, there's always this terrible communication between them, and I should say lack thereof. And by the time they're ready to go and express themselves, it becomes this, it's too much. It's too much, and that causes a lot of unnecessary drama to be piled on top of things. So Tracy is dealing with that. All this is coming up because the sisters are coming together for Trina's bachelorette party, sorry. And I'm thinking, this is awkward, because Tracy is saying she hasn't seen her sisters since the blow up in the cabin in the woods, and I guess when Trina got engaged, which I'm thinking, that long ago? Like, what are we doing here? Anyway, Tony is doing the finishing touches for her newest album. She's doing the music video for her single, Treatment. Remember, this is perfect because that was right before quarantine hit, if my timeline is correct. And I do like that song. And the music video looks really good, so you need to check that out. But she's just focusing on that. And because she's focusing on that, she can't go and be there for Trina's bachelorette party. Which, now that we've seen the bachelorette party, is probably a good thing, because we know that Tawanda, who sets everything up, set this up. And that means that Tawanda decided... Oh gosh, we'll get to that. Trina talks about how the wedding was supposed to be one state. They had to change plans because her fiance's mom cannot move around like that. So she's making accommodations, and it's stressful only because she's planning for a wedding in a different state. So she's relying on people to do things, and try not to be a bridezilla. Sorry. But the whole thing is that Trina, at this stage in her life, I don't see her being that way anyway, so there's not really much there. But she was talking to her mom. Her mom isn't coming to the bachelorette party. Perfect, smart, because Mother Evelyn would not be here for it. But I appreciate Mother Evelyn saying, hey, you do what you do. You have your fun. You do that over there. I will be over here. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the bachelorette party, because yeah, we get some general banter between the sisters. Trina, yeah. Let's just move on to the bachelorette party, because that was the main thing with this episode. The other things I honestly didn't care too much about. As far as the house is very nice. I also saw some other local Atlanteans. I saw Quad there. I saw, now that wasn't Miss Minnie, one of the twins from that show that people love, but that wasn't the important part. The important part was there were props, there was sex toys, there was it was a real bachelorette party. And I said, you know what, Trina, at her core of her, she's a fun girl, fun woman. She'll appreciate this, even if people like maybe Tony, who wasn't there, and Tamar, who at least in public doesn't present herself as being interested in acting like, oh, she's just cool and okay with those things, but in private it's like, woo! And there's a lot of people like that, so it's fine. Things are awkward. Tracy shows up, and Tracy fakes the funk with Tawanda. Remember, Tracy was having issues with Tawanda. Everyone's kind of having issues with each other, but they're playing it cool. Just like how when Trina came in, and I said, Trina, what are you wearing? Because everyone else was dressed more sexual and more free. But Tamar brought clothing for Trina. And remember, Tamar had that visceral reaction to Trina getting engaged, not because Trina was getting engaged, but it was supposed to be the Tamar weekend, the Tamar moment, and clearly mentally Tamar probably needed that more than the sisters realized, which is now what I'm starting to, when I look back, I'm like, okay, maybe this was because of that, maybe this was because of that, but when you don't say that, how am I supposed to know that? And everyone is doing a good job faking the funk. Tracy's even talking about how, you know, I'm not in a good place with a couple of people right now, but I'm gonna hug, kiss, but I'm not gonna do too much. I'm not gonna do too much. I said, let's get a drink or two in you, and then we'll see if that changes. During the bachelorette party, we had a couple of things going on. We had this, what's it called? Tanzik? I don't know, but it was this couple that was there, and they were simulating a sensual, sexual encounter. That's how I'll explain it. Yeah, stimulating a sensual, sexual encounter. I like that. I know this is up Tracy's alley, so I know Tracy was having a good time. There was a lot happening, and of course you had the Peanut Gallery, aka Miss Tamar, as Alexander Rogers would say. Tamar saying and reacting however she would react. And it wasn't just her. Let me be very clear. This was not just a, oh, she ruined things. No. There were a couple of people that were saying and doing things that made Trina feel like, why are you doing that? The people, they're performing, they're putting on a show, it's rude, and it's taken away from it. So that's when, of course, someone had to go up there, talk to her, and tell her, hey, it's fine. It's fine. Let people act the way how they want to act or react. This is your party. This is for you. You're supposed to enjoy it. I don't care about what this other person says or what this other person does. This is your day. This is your time. So she went back down there, and she went back down there because there was this guy who I said, oh, he's probably the stripper. There was actually a lot of guys there, which confused me. I'm thinking, wait, are these husbands who said, oh, you can go to that, but I need to be there too, type of thing? Why were they there? I kept looking and seeing, like, why are there so many guys here? This is a bachelorette party. There were a lot of them. A lot of them. Unless they were people who were a part of the production for... Maybe they were part of the production, because there's this one guy who wasn't wearing a shirt and thinking, that's odd. But then I realized, oh, he has to be like a stripper or something. So then he comes out here with a board with food on it, and I guess his thing was a part of the meal. That just sounds so weird. But I was like, oh, okay. Alright, we're doing a lot here. And then after that, they just went and partied and had a good time. There was a separate conversation, not there, separately, with Tracy. And that was because, and again, it was one of those weird fake, it irked me because I was watching and thinking, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Because there they were, just, oh, well, you know, I just want to thank you for sitting down with me, and, you know, I felt a certain way about this, and, oh, well, I never wanted you to feel that way about this or that way about that, and, you know, I do apologize. Heck, all I do know is that, and it wasn't my intention, and all of this. I'm thinking, this isn't going to be solved today. Maybe it was with Tawanda. An apology was had, but Tracy's whole thing was that, oh, you need to mean it, which is true. What's the point of apologizing if you don't mean it? But my whole thing was, I don't care. So that's it. That's all I have for you with this. This is going to be my style for doing TV show reactions moving forward. So if you like this style, great. If you want something more in depth, sorry, not happening. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other reactions. I do music reaction videos as well. So stay tuned.